Hi everyone, I am Dr. Sarana Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of Management Studies, SNS College of Technology, Coimbatore. So last session we discussed ethical analysis. Now we are going to discuss another important topic, ethical dilemma. So what do you mean by ethical dilemma? Ethical dilemma is nothing but depends upon the situation you are going to take a decision. We are going to discuss in depth ethical dilemma. So, we are going to discuss related to the ethical dilemma. Ethical dilemmas arise when competing the values and creating the conflicting options. Importance in design. Recognizing ethical dilemmas helps designers navigate complex choices. And mind map example, the visual representation, including the categories like social responsibility. So now we are going to discuss in the ethical dilemma based on the design thinking methodologies. I mean design thinking stages. In that last session also we discussed empathize, define, ideate, prototype and testing. So the same DT stages applied through that ethical dilemma. So user research, empathize, conducting interviews and surveys to gather insights while respecting participant privacy and consent is crucial in avoiding ethical pitfalls and cultural. So understanding diverse user background to mitigate bias. Bias is nothing but errors and mistakes. So in design, ensuring inclusivity and respect for different perspectives. Case study example like that related to the case study, a mobile app that demonstrated ethical empathy by addressing users' mental health needs while handling their data responsibility. So define. So define is nothing but you're going to identify that in the empathize the problem identification, you have to you have to define the exact problem. So clearing, defining the problem while considering ethical implications such as potential harm to users or communities. Then stakeholder analysis, identifying all stakeholders affected by the design decision to understand the broader impact and prioritize their needs ethically. Then example for ethical conflict. Conflict is nothing but a problem. So a design team debating whether to prioritize user engagement metrics that could lead to addition versus maintaining healthy user experiences. Brainstorming solutions. In that last session also I clearly explained. So brainstorming, you are going to select the best best solution to solve the problem. So generating multiple ideas while evaluating the ethical ramifications of each option, promoting transparency and justice. Then diversity in ideation. So encouraging a diverse team. It means a different team in brainstorming to bring various ethical viewpoints into discussions, enhance creative solutions. In that current scenario, I mean that example for the scenario, designing a future for social media that enhances connectivity but risk enabling harmful behavior among users, weighing pros and cons ethically. So prototype nothing but to build the model. So creating prototype while adhering to ethical standards, ensuring all user interactions are monitored for unintentional misuse or harm. Then user testing, evaluating prototype with a focus on ethical implications, ensuring feedback mechanism, address users' concern transparently. Related to the practical example, a wearable device prototype tested to balance user health benefit with ethical guidelines on data usage and security. So you have to build the model. So that's only we are saying that wearable device prototype tested to balance user health benefit, ethical guidelines on data usage and security. Then finally, you come to that testing. So feedback loop, active seeking user feedback post launch to identify any unforeseen ethical issues, enabling continuous improvement and responsible design. Transparency in results, sharing testing outcome with stakeholders to uphold accountability and ethical practices in design iteration. So example of ethical responsibility, a technology company engaged user post launch to discuss ethical concern, improving its product based on user input and ethical considerations. So these are the things related to the ethical dilemma. Dilemma is nothing but depends upon the situation we are going to take a decision. For example, any conflict will happen in that organization. Immediately, you are going to take a decision. So you have to think about that stages like empathize, define, ideate, and prototype and testing. In the design thinking stages, you can apply it in that ethical dilemma to get the solution. So, what is the conclusion for the ethical dilemma is reflecting on ethics. Design professionals must continuously reflect on their ethical responsibility during each stage of the design thinking process. Commitment to ethical design, establishing best practices and framework that prioritize ethical consideration, fosters trust and integrity in design outcome. Call to action, encouraging designers to integrate ethical considerations seamlessly into their workflow, recognizing the influence of their decisions on user and society. So these are the things are very important in that ethical dilemmas uh, we discussed. So these are the references I taken for that my PPT. So like books like Design for Ethical Use, a guide for practitioners by various authors, and articles and websites I taken. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all.